Stop what you're doing and look at this statue. Really look at it. You see a pharaoh, right? Broad shoulders, stern jawline, the ceremonial beard of authority strapped to the chin. Now, what if I told you this absolute chat of a king was actually a woman? And not just any woman, but the OG girl boss of the ancient world who literally cross-dressed her way into absolute power? Welcome to the story of Hatshepsut, the woman who looked at the glass ceiling of ancient Egypt and decided to smash it with a massive granite obelisk. To understand how we got here, we have to look at her family tree, which, let's be honest, in ancient Egypt is more of a family wreath. It's a circle. Everyone is married to everyone. Her dad was Thutmose III, a legendary warrior, a conqueror, the kind of guy who expands borders for breakfast. Hatshepsut was his favorite, obviously, but when dad died, the throne didn't go to the brilliant, capable daughter. No, it went to her half-brother, Thutmose III, who, by the way, she also had to marry. Gross. Moving on. Thutmose II was underwhelming. He was frail, he sat around a lot, and frankly, he wasn't exactly king material. He ruled for a few years, mostly letting Hatshepsut handle the paperwork, and then promptly died. So, we have a power vacuum. The next in line is Thutmose III, but there's a catch. He's a literal baby, and his mom was a lesser wife, basically an ancient side chick. Now, usually in Egypt, when the king is a toddler, the queen mother steps in as regent. She's supposed to keep the seat warm, change some diapers, and hand over the keys when the kid hits puberty. Hatshepsut takes the job. She's the regent. She's running the show. But she's looking at the throne, looking at the baby, looking back at the throne, and thinking, I can do this better. For the first few years, she plays by the rules. She calls herself the Great Royal Wife. She stands behind little Thutmose III at ceremonies. Very demure, very mindful. But around year 7, something snaps. Hatshepsut wakes up and chooses violence. Or rather, she chooses divinity. She stops being a queen regent and declares herself pharaoh. This was unheard of. Egypt had queens, sure, but a female king? That breaks the cosmic order of Maat. The universe is supposed to implode or something. To pull this off, she needed a rebrand, a massive PR campaign. She needed to convince the elite that she wasn't just a woman in charge, she was a man in charge. She starts commissioning statues. At first, they show her as a woman in a dress, then a woman in a dress with a muscular build, then full-on male body, no chest, wearing the royal kilt, and the pièce de résistance, the false beard, the symbol of divine kingship. She strapped that bad boy on her chin and said, my pronouns are he, him, pharaoh, but visuals weren't enough. She needed a backstory, so she literally rewrote history. She commissioned reliefs claiming her dad, Thutmose I, actually named her king before he died. She went even further. She claimed her real father wasn't Thutmose I, but the god Amun himself, who possessed her dad's body to conceive her. It's the ancient equivalent of God told me I'm in charge, and the priesthood, they bought it. Why? Because Hatshepsut made it rain. She poured money into the temples. If you pay the priests enough, they'll agree that you're the daughter of a ham sandwich if you want. With her legitimacy secured, she didn't just sit there. She didn't go to war like the boys usually did. No, she realized that war is expensive and trade is profitable. She launched the most famous expedition in Egyptian history, the voyage to the land of Punt. This was like the moon landing of 1400 BC. We still don't know exactly where Punt was, maybe Somalia or Eritrea, but we know what she brought back. Gold, ebony, ivory, leopard skins, and baboons. Lots of baboons. But the real prize, frankincense trees, live trees. She wanted to plant them in Egypt to create her own garden of the gods. It was the first recorded attempt at transplanting foreign fauna. She recorded the whole trip on the walls of her temple. She even included a depiction of the Queen of Punt, Ati, who is portrayed as, let's say, voluptuous. It's weirdly body positive for ancient art. Speaking of temples, Hatshepsut was the greatest builder Egypt had ever seen. She built more than anyone before her. If there was a blank wall in Thebes, she put her name on it. Her masterpiece is Deir el-Bahri, Jiseru, Holy of Holies. It's this stunning, modern-looking colonnaded temple built right into the cliff face. It looks like it was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. right. To build all this, she relied on her right-hand man, Senenmut, the royal architect, the tutor to her daughter, and according to ancient gossip, maybe her boyfriend. Senenmut was a commoner who rose to the highest ranks. He was everywhere. He even carved his own image behind the doors of her temple so he could be with her forever. That is stage 5 clinger energy. Meanwhile, remember Thutmose III, the actual king? Yeah, he's growing up, he's getting swole, he's joining the army, he's learning how to kill people. You'd think he'd be mad, you'd think he'd stage a cup, hey auntie, give me my throne back. But he doesn't. He leads her armies. He waits. So Hatshepsut ruled for 22 years. That's a long time. It was an era of peace and massive wealth. She wasn't a tyrant. She was an administrator genius. She erected 2 massive obelisks at Karnak, covered in electrum, gold and silver mix. They would have reflected the sun and blinded anyone looking at them. A giant, shiny look at me. One of those obelisks is still standing today. It's the tallest surviving obelisk in Egypt. It weighs 340 tons. How did they move it without aliens? We still argue about it, but all good things must come to an end. Hatshepsut died in her mid-40s. We found her mummy. She had diabetes, arthritis, and bad teeth. Being a living god takes a toll on the body. She was buried in the Valley of the Kings, not the Valley of the Queens. The Kings. She committed to the bit until the very end. Thutmose III finally takes the throne alone. He goes on to become the Napoleon of Egypt. He conquers everything in sight. He's the greatest warrior pharaoh ever. But then, 20 years after she died, something weird happens. Thutmose III starts erasing her. It wasn't a rage-filled tantrum immediately after her death. It was a calculated political move. Decades later, he sent masons to chisel her name off the walls. They smashed her statues. They threw the pieces into a pit. They built walls around her obelisks to hide them. It was a systematic Damnatio Memoriae. Why? Was he jealous? Maybe, but historians think it was more about succession. He wanted to ensure his son got the throne, not Hatshepsut's relatives. By erasing a female king, he was restoring the natural order. Women can't be king, therefore she never existed. It was gaslighting on a monumental scale, and it almost worked for centuries. History forgot her. The king lists skipped right from Thutmose II to Thutmose III. She was a ghost. When early archaeologists started digging in the 19th century, they were confused. They found references to a female ruler but couldn't fit her in. They thought she was an evil stepmother usurper. They called her a scheming woman, a witch, because obviously a woman ruling effectively had to be a villain, right? Thanks, Victorian sexism. But the truth was in the trash. Archaeologists found the pit where her smashed statues were dumped. They started piecing the puzzle and the statues back together. We decoded the hieroglyphs at Deir el-Bahri. We realized she wasn't a usurper, she was a savior. She kept the dynasty alive when it was vulnerable. She navigated a patriarchal system. By becoming the patriarchy, she didn't ask for permission. She took the divine beard and wore it better than the men. Today, Hatshepsut is recognized as one of the most successful pharaohs in history. Not female pharaohs, just pharaohs, period. Her temple still stands. Her obelisks still pierce the sky, and her story is finally being told, loud and clear. So next time someone tells you you're being too ambitious, just remember Hatshepsut. Put on your fake beard, build your temple, and make sure you carve your name so deep that even 3,000 years of haters can't erase you. Credits roll, but wait, post-credits scene. Fun fact, she also apparently used a skin lotion that contained carcinogenic tar, which might be what killed her. Beauty is pain, folks, literally. Says I. Ancient Egypt also mentioned that her mummy was identified in 2007 thanks to a missing tooth. A single molar found in a box with her liver matched the gap in the mummy's mouth. And let's pour one out for Senenmut. We never found his mummy. Did Thutmose III destroy him, or did he just fade away? The mystery of the architect lover remains. Hatshepsut proves that history is written by the victors, but archaeology is written by the people who dig through the trash. She was the king who was a queen, who became a legend. Long live Matkar Hatshepsut. Seriously though, the beard thing is genius. I might wear one to my next performance review. Wait, one more thing. If you visit the Met in New York, you can see her statues. They glued them back together. You can see the cracks. It makes them cooler. It's a reminder that you can be broken, thrown in a pit, and erased, and still end up in a museum in New York City, being admired by millions? Okay, now actually go away. Go read a book about Egypt, or watch The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. It's not accurate, but it's a masterpiece. Just don't watch the Tom Cruise one. When we talk about great men of history, we usually talk about how many people they killed. Alexander, Caesar, Genghis. Hatshepsut is a great man who defined greatness by building, not destroying, except for the Nubians. She did smash the Nubians a little bit. Nobody's perfect, but largely, she proves you can rule with soft power and really good fashion sense. Her daughter, Neferure, was groomed to follow her. Hatshepsut wanted a dynasty of women, but Neferure died young. Tragedy. If she had lived, maybe Egypt becomes a matriarchy forever. Imagine that alternate timeline. Instead, we got the Ramses boys later on who were fine, but they were no Hatshepsut. So here's to the beard, here's to the ambition, here's to the king herself. Don't let the history books fool you. She wasn't an interlude, she was the main event. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button like Thutmose III smashed his stepmom's statues. This woman planned everything. Even her afterlife was a coordinated family reunion. So when you think of Egypt, don't just think of Cleopatra. Cleopatra was Greek. She lived closer to the iPhone than to the pyramids. Hatshepsut was the real deal. Native Egyptian, builder, king, and a legend. The woman who ruled as king